draw my life as a critical reader and as a writer, but we'll get to that more towards the end. Over the past quarter, I have tried really hard to learn and grow as a reader and as a writer. The areas that I have seen the most improvement for myself is my reading without bias and fondling the details. These are really important skills for me to learn because I am someone with a lot of opinions. Mr. Ziles, go ahead and follow along with the tabs on the side. Those will lead you through the conference. To start off with, I want to talk about learning how I've grown within fondling the details. Nabokov says that in reading, one should notice and fondle the details. This is really important and an important skill for me to learn because sometimes I read through text too fast or I don't really look at what the deeper meaning of the text. The first place that I saw my worst example is within the illegal immigration reading journals. I definitely just did some surface level and I quickly spread through my reading and my analysis of it, and there was a lot of room for improvement within this reading journal and a lot of places where I could have stopped and really read what was happening and really taken notice of the details that what these two authors were trying to get across, but I didn't. Another example of me trying to get together this idea of fondling the details is with the gun control reading journals. I had a strong response, but I didn't take the time to go and actually read what the authors were trying to say. So as a result, I have just kind of my own opinions and a response that doesn't quite make a lot of sense because it was my ideas rather than new ideas. Next example of me trying to get better with lingering in the details is with the Huck Finn reading journal. As you can see, I have the themes picked out and I have the ideas of the themes picked out, but I don't go into detail because I didn't give myself enough time to look for more details and to understand the details better. Where I'm really starting to almost get it is with the A and P. I have a really strong response and I'm able to linger in those details to the point where I'm able to pull details out and then compare them to another place. This is something I never would have been able to do before, pulling details out like this and comparing them to something else because I never took the time to really understand the details in the first place. This is one of the first places that you really start to see me grow as a reader with these skills. My best example is with the reunion, and I really don't have to say any explanation for this. I was able to take in all the details, and I was able to analyze a character because I was able to stop and fondle those details. Another area that I improved is reading without bias, and this is really big for me because I am someone with a lot of strong opinions, and a lot of the time, my strong opinions are shown in my writing. My most bias is with illegal immigration. I have no extra background information and you can just clearly see my bias because I don't take the time to look up and make sure what I'm saying is actually correct or am I just saying random things. Maybe another place that I'm starting to get better is it with Huck Finn. I say a lot of I believe, I feels, and I thinks. I know it's a question that's asking for my opinion, but I have very little to back it up with. I'm just kind of spewing my own thoughts and ideas when I should be stopping and taking the time to really think it through and find some information to make sure that what I'm saying is actually correct. A place where I maybe finally am getting the hang of things is with the Reunion and the A&P reading journals. Now with Reunion, I still have that I think and I feel, but I'm really working towards it and I start to use a little bit background information. With A&P is where you can really start to see my growth because I have a lot of evidence and I'm no longer making up my own facts or trying to say things that weren't really in the text or taking things out of context. My very best example for reading without bias is my gun control reading journal. And this might be a little ironic because you would think that gun control would be the one place where I have the most bias because it's one of my most opinionated ideas, but it's really the one place where I'm able to step away from my own views and I'm able to compare two opposing arguments without my own bias and without letting the reader know what side of the argument I'm on. This is something that I have always struggled with, but I think that I'm finally now getting the hang of taking the step back and becoming less biased. Okay, now on the other end of the story, I'd like to talk about how I've grown as a writer. I know I still have a lot of improvement to go, but I've really tried to make my writing better. Highlighted in green are some of the typos that really jump out at me, and it's me typing too fast and not rereading what I'm writing. And that's a problem with my writing, as I don't reread thoroughly enough to pull those mistakes out. But I've really been trying on getting better at that. And hopefully, if you look at my reading journals, you'll be able to see that I have tried and I have gotten better with fewer typos and fewer grammar mistakes. In conclusion, I have grown as a reader in the way that I'm able to now read without bias and I am now able to fondle the details. Also, I have grown as a writer in my ability to maybe try to take a step back and reread a little bit and make sure I'm not making silly mistakes anymore. I am really excited to see what the future holds for me and what new skills I'll be learning next quarter. Thanks, Mr. Ziles.